Hello, world. Welcome back to Golf Subpar with Colt Knost and Drew Stoltz. The 2023 PGA Tour season is in the books. Viktor Hovland, my goodness gracious, what a couple weeks for him. Winning the $18 million prize, the largest prize in golf. He is your FedEx Cup champion. He'll be over in Rome, as will Weasley's. He'll be representing Team Europe. We're in the red, white, and blue, which, by the way, you're at Pine Valley right now. Very polo place. You look great, getting ready to go out there and tee it up.
Thank you.
How's Pine Valley treating you?
We just arrived, dude, and I got that excitement like a little kid when you just want to get out on the golf course. You know, this place is special. As you know, my favorite place in the world to play golf. So we got a few days here. We're doing a cool little father-son trip with some guys from back home, and we're gonna get in as much golf as humanly possible. We might have a little rain on Tuesday, but I don't care if it ain't lightning on my head. I'm playing maximum holes allowable out here, so very much looking forward to it. A little rusty, but when you show up on property, dude, just like the lights come on, you got to go.
Place is the best. I'm very jealous. It's still hotter than hell in Scottsdale.
Oh.
You haven't missed anything, but obviously we're filming this right now. This time tomorrow when it comes out, a lot of you, by the time you wake up and listen to it, we're going to know who are the final 6 picks for Team USA and who's going to be rocking the Polo Ralph Lauren gear over in Rome.
Who is going to have that honor? And Ralph Lauren is proud to continue its partnership with the PGA of America as the official outfitter of the 2023 United States Ryder Cup team. Combining the rich heritage of the greatest team event in golf with innovative performance fabrics, Ralph Lauren will provide the U.S. team with apparel to be worn during the tournament play at the 44th Ryder Cup, which will be contested at Marco Simone Golf and Country Club in Rome, Italy, from September 29 to October 1st. Ralph Lauren will also outfit all caddies, spouses, and partners of the U.S. team, including Ralph Lauren Golf ambassadors, U.S. team captain Zach Johnson, and vice captain Davis Love III. The RLX Golf collection is available in select Ralph Lauren stores, exclusive private clubs and resorts, and online at ralphlauren.com. Go get yourself some red, white, and blue because it is time.
I tell you what, I cannot wait for this. This thing keeps getting more and more interesting. Sleeves, we're gambling, guys. At the start of the season, Team USA was over a minus 300 favorite to win the Ryder Cup to break the 30-year streak. It's down to minus 135 over with our friends at FanDuel. That's insane how much it's changed.
It's insane how much it's changed. After Whistling Straits, dude, I mean, you and I were up there. We came back and talked about it. We're like, what's going to change? I mean, I know some things will change in the next 2 years, but tell me what's going to happen to this core of U.S. players that Europe can put a team out there that could possibly beat them. And now you fast forward 2 years later, and sure enough, they got a team that could potentially do it. That's reflected in the line. But I mean, Colt, like I've always said, their top of their team is stacked as well as our team is too. I think we have an advantage on the depth side. But you don't play, you only try to get 8 guys out there for each session. But right now, if you look at their top 6, I don't know how big the U.S. advantage is given the way some of those guys are playing on Europe right now. If any, they might have the advantage on the top side.
They got a Dolly Parton squad. They're top heavy.
Yeah, can't sleep on their stomachs. Got it.
Or that too. But yeah, man, they're loaded. This Ludwig Aberg just played really well last week. I'm very confident he's going to be on that team. You got one of the Højgaards. They're twins, so just pick one of them, whichever one's playing the best at the time. Throw him in there. But yeah, it's going to get interesting. Obviously, the golf course is going to be set up really well for them. They're going to make it tough. I imagine deep rough, narrow fairways. But Captain Zach Johnson, he's got a tough decision to make. There's rumors going around. It's already kind of been leaked that he's got his mind made up on 5 of the 6 guys. When this comes out tomorrow, you'll know if we were right or not. But I'm hearing Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler, and roll tide, Justin Thomas.
Littering and yes.
So
That's
and then still that
rumor.
6 picks up for grabs. And I think it comes down to, a very small group of people. I think you look at Sam Burns, Cam Young, Keegan Bradley, possibly Lucas Glover. And then if Zach wants to just go not off the grid, but just would be a surprise pick, a guy like Dustin Johnson.
Well, in the team room, I don't think there's not a guy that wouldn't raise their hand for Dustin Johnson. Would it be off the grid in the sense that, he's only played the major championships and, he's showed some good form, but just there's other guys that you're picking from that we know exactly what they look like right now. It's that last pick, if that's the way it shakes out, and that's the way the rumors are going right now. Man, that's 3 tough phone calls, dude. If you were the captain, not who do you think he's going to pick. But if you were making that pick right now, which way would you go?
Sam Burns, because they'll team him with Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, that's the thing. Scotty, I think that plays a lot.
Yeah, I think Zach goes to Scotty and be like, who would you feel most comfortable with? He's going to say his Sam Burns, one of his best friends in the world. But it's a tough call. Like Keegan Bradley was sitting there in a great spot. He was in the next to last pairing on Saturday at the Tour Championship. I thought if he had a good weekend, he didn't have to win, but if he finished third, fourth, somewhere around there, I thought he had a great chance. Cam Young, I mean, he's a stud, dude. He hasn't played that great as of late. He had a top 10 at the Open Championship, but I mean, the team room is part of it. Let's be honest. And he's not the most vocal guy, kind of shy, keeps to himself. And then, yeah, Lucas Glover, it'd be an incredible story, but I just don't see him picking Lucas Glover over Sam Burns. I could be wrong. Yeah. It's happened before.
3 weeks ago, I went ahead and said, I think Lucas Glover's done enough. I think he's on this on this team. Going into this week, I also thought, those are kind of the names, and the ones you just mentioned were the ones being thrown around. I was like, I don't know that anyone can play their way off the team this week, but there's damn sure a way that some of these bubble guys could make a huge last statement in terms of being picked. And I thought Keegan Bradley had that opportunity. I don't want to put too much emphasis on like one round. He shot 3 over in the final round. It's like, dude, we've been picking for over 2 years. It's hard to put so much emphasis on one round, but the fact that he slipped to ninth, Sam Burns finished in ninth place, and Lucas Glover 18th, there's no real like great closing argument, I don't think, for any of those guys. But ultimately, I think it comes down to Glover and Burns, and I don't know. I think it's a coin flip. Honestly, I could see your argument with Scotty Scheffler. That's his guy. They'll team up together. Boom, perfect. Also Glover, like, dude, if you look at this golf course the way you just described it, who's a better driver on tour than, and ball striker really than Lucas Glover? An alternate shot format, he'd be a beast. So there's no wrong decisions here, but that last one, assuming what we're hearing is true, it's going to be juicy, and there's going to be some tough phone calls, man. Yeah,
it's part of the job. Listen, the last time Team USA won across the pond was 30 years ago. The 2 captains picks that year were ranked 22nd and 32nd in the points list, and that was Lanny Watkins and Raymond Floyd. And they went over there and won. So imagine if he went that far down the list. I mean, all hell would break loose. People think my whole deal is when people say so-and-so earned it. I'm like, no, he didn't. Listen, I get it. Like, he's played great. Like Brooks Koepka, yeah, he's done a lot to make his case of being on that team. He only had 4 events that counted this year, and he finished 7th. But the criteria is there's 6 automatic picks. So in my opinion, 6 guys earned it. The rest of them, it's up to Zach Johnson.
Does anyone know how Lanny and Raymond's form is right now? Are they playing good? Is it too late? Run it back. They got the formula.
I think I'd pass on him right now.
They got the blueprint, but yeah,
Raymond Floyd was over 50 years old, by the way, when he got picked.
Steve Stricker and Bernhard Longer. What if they come out of the woodworks with Bernhard?
Tough match.
Throw a little senior. Yeah, that'd be a tough one. But it comes down to this every time. Whether we have 2 captains picks, 4, 6, name it, whatever, it's always going to come down to the last 1, possibly 2, and that's exactly what we got this year. And whoever he picks, dude, you're picking a world-class player. So that's the benefit of being the U.S. team captain, is you have a depth. You have so much depth with talent in the U.S. that, like, the picks won't be I mean, at the end of the week, we'll add them up and see how many points they got, but you got good options, I should say.
Yep. Can't wait to see who he picks. Can't wait to get over to Rome for the Ryder Cup. But one man that's going to be there, and he is going to be a problem, Viktor Hovland. This man has turned into a complete player. He does it all. We've always known about his ball striking. His putting's always been pretty good. Now he's got a short game to go with it. It is rather impressive what he's doing. You go throughout the whole playoffs, Sleaze. Take out the first round 72 at Memphis. He is averaging just over 65 per round. It's just absurd how easy he is making this game look. I was with him on Friday in the next to last pairing. The dude, it looked like golden tee out there. Just spin it back, push it forward, and the damn thing went dead straight, 320 down the middle of every fairway. Made it look so easy. On a golf course, look, some people like East Lake, some people hate it. It sucks in August just because it's so soft, and the wind hardly blew all week. So these guys torched it. But the fairways, they average less than 25 yards wide. You got to drive the golf ball. The rough was 3.5 inches. It sank straight to the bottom. But with how hot and humid it was, the greens were soft. And when it's soft, you can't stop these guys. You can't hide the pins from them. And Viktor Hovland is a damn robot right now. And he went on and put a clinic. I thought Xander Schauffele was going to give him a little push. It looked like it was going to get tight there for a second. But every time it did, Viktor Hovland stepped up and made a huge clutch putt.
When was the last time you can remember a guy having a 6-shot lead going into the final round and shooting a 63?
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Like, that doesn't happen. Like, guys put it on cruise control. It's like, just don't mess up. You knew Xander was going to try to make a run, and he did everything in his power. Shit, he shot a 62, but just couldn't get close. Viktor was just automatic. I thought the most impressive thing, you touched on it, was Colt, like the short game. He's been very open about that. Like, he famously said, I suck at chipping. He led the field in scrambling this week. Granted, he didn't have to chip a whole lot of times. He only made 2 bogeys, but he led the field in scrambling along with virtually every ball striking category you can have. But that's Sunday, man, to have a 6-shot lead and to not just say, let's put this in cruise control, but let's keep going and shoot a 63. Dude, we need him to chill out a little bit before Rome, because it's been fun to watch the last couple of weeks, but let's pump the brakes just a little bit. And Colt, I know you were at Quail earlier this year with Wyndham and Xander, and you walked around and said that might be the best pairing of golf I've ever seen between the two guys. This Sunday at Eastlake, the 63-62 bogey free out of both of them. I mean, that was a joke how easy they made it look.
I'll still stick with Xander and Wyndham on that, just because I thought that golf course was playing much harder that day. And granted, this was the final pairing, and they had the 2 lowest scores of the day, which doesn't happen very often. When you're the leaders and you go out and you shoot the 2 lowest rounds when everybody else can freewheel it, it's pretty special. But I was on the range with Xander and Austin Kaiser before he teed off, and I was just talking to him, going back and forth, like, what's the plan? Obviously, you're 6 back, you got to go low. He's like, I think if we go out there and shoot 7 under 63, like, could possibly have a chance. And I'm like, yeah, probably, with $18 million on the line. I mean, Victor's going to feel it a little bit. 63 sounds pretty good. He shot 62 and he made up a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
barely got close. Barely had a chance.
You think about it. You're sitting there, you're Xander Schauffele, and you're going into the day, and you're like, okay, I'm going to shoot 30 on the front 9. I could really cut into that lead. He picked up 1 shot at the turn. Like, it was just, imagine if we had a match play situation or a stroke play situation. If they all started at 0 at the start of the week, those two would have been in a playoff for $18 million, an $11.5 million difference between first and second.
Which would be a dream scenario for that, to have one round or a playoff or whatever, just kind of all the chips on the table moment at that deal. That's the risk you run with that format, is someone like Viktor comes out and does what he does. But Xander Schauffele, man, if they could just host some more events at Eastlake. I mean, the kid does not miss around Eastlake. Never shot over par in his career.
28
on that
rounds.
Golf course. And not with that rough, like you mentioned, dude, it just takes a wayward drive here or there. Not even a bad drive, just a little bit off. And it sinks down to that bottom of that Bermuda. You get a squirrely lie, boom. You make a couple bogeys. He hadn't done it yet. That final round golf, man. That was something special. So I'm glad at least one of those guys in that duel is going to be wearing the red, white, and blue here in a few weeks.
No kidding. But shout out Viktor Hovland. You earned it, man. That was an impressive last 2 weeks. He's your FedEx Cup champion. And it was a hell of a week for me, Sleaze. Not only did we just wrap up our CBS season, 23 weeks, the most we've ever done. Just did 19 of 21 weeks to end the year. So I'm about to go into full football and couch mode, not moving for quite some time. But one of my highlights of last week, I'm a big country music guy. Never seen Chris Stapleton before. He was in Atlanta last week. He played Friday and Saturday night. I went Saturday night with our man Charles Barkley, and my goodness gracious, you talk about a boy that could sing. Not Charles. I've seen Charles sing. It's not near as good. Chris Stapleton might be the best voice I've ever heard.
Did he sing the national anthem? Did he open with that? Because I think that was the last time I cried, actually.
Well, to be fair, because of the weather delay, we got there about 3 songs in, which was tragic because I missed his new one, White Horse. But I will say this. We had all planned on going. Okay, so they set us up with some tickets. Everything was good. Well, Charles decided Friday night, he's like, y'all are going to Chris Stapleton? I want to go. So our CBS guy emails Chris's manager. He goes, well, believe it or not, Charles Barkley actually wants to come to the show. You think we can do anything? He goes, yep. Pull into the back gate. You're parking next to the bus. You're sitting side stage or front of house, whichever one you want. And then Chris would like to meet him after the show. So things kind of change when Charles Barkley's involved. It's kind of nice. I hate to give him credit, but it was a hell of a time. And thanks to all Chris's team for helping us out. It was, what a show it was, man. I was so impressed by that guy. And then to meet him afterwards was so cool, man. Don't get starstruck very often, but that one was up there.
I like that, though. You're a country music guy. Like, those are your guys. Those are the ones that move the needle for you. And luckily for you, as fate would have it, if Charles wants to go, typically some spots open up. So that's a nice, little stroke of luck there with Chuck.
Yeah, but it was a fun week in Atlanta. It was a fun week on the fun year on the PGA Tour. Shout out to all my teammates over at CBS and all the people behind the scenes for all the hard work they do, because I got a lot of loyal listeners out there, camera guys, all that, all spotters, everybody. Y'all are fantastic. It was an amazing year 2 for me, and I can't wait to get it started all again in Torrey Pines in January.
And congrats to you, man, on a great year. You guys have done a great job throughout that entire process. It's a long year. It's a long haul. And tip of the cap, bud. Great work, and looking forward to next year.
Yep, cannot wait. But now, let's get ready for some football and some gambling, because football season is here, and we got incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Obviously, this week, we got college football, so we're going to go to that instead of the NFL. Let's just show them. Finally, we're in something we actually know what we're talking about. We've been talking about golf for so long. Now we're ready to rock.
Home, dude.
You ready for this? I'm going right out of the gates. They've already played 1 week, so I feel like they knocked the rust off. They didn't cover, but this man is probably going to be the next quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. He's going to be the #1 pick in the draft next year. Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans fight on are minus 38.5 against Nevada. I know it's a shit ton of points. I know nothing about Nevada, but I feel like Caleb Williams is the best player on the field by a long ways, and he can handle that.
Nevada, that's where Vegas is. That's the state where Vegas is located.
But the school is in Reno.
Correct. The school is in Reno. Used to go to First Stage up there. Can get frigid. I like that. 38 and a hook, huh? But we're taking. We just said, we're getting into shit that we know now. We're talking football. We're going to look like the biggest just public schmucks in the world, because you know where I'm going with my pick, PG? This ain't going to be a surprise, buddy boy. TCU Horned Frogs, your national champion runner-ups, I might add, just coming off a tight loss at the end of last season. Hopefully they put that behind them. But they're giving 20 and a hook to Coach Prime and the Buffaloes.
It's a lot to give to Prime.
It's a lot to give to Prime. Being a proud Colorado native that I am, I got a lot of friends that are Buffaloes. There's a lot of shit being talked around here. We got a lot of new dudes. They got virtually an entire new team. First week of the year, it's like, man, I haven't had a whole lot of time to work together. We have. I'm going to take my boys, 20 and a hook, ride or die. I'm a homer. That's what I do. But I'm going to be tuned in, and I'm gassed up for some college football.
Your 455-pound offensive lineman might eat Coach Prime for a snack.
Oh, my God. I don't think he's ever going to play this year, but please, God, just put him in. Put him on goal. First, whatever in goal. From the one, you put him in at fullback.
Fall forward.
Dare somebody to get around him and get the running back.
All right. Well, now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/subpar and kick off football season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia, or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. NFL Sunday Ticket offers 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket. No YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. All right, well, let's get to our interview this week. We've got the 123rd U.S. Amateur Champ in the house. The Alabama Crimson Tide, Nick Dunlap, joins us. This is a fun one. Let's get to it. Here's Nick Dunlap on Subpar.
All right, our guest here today just had himself a week. Just became the only man not named Tiger Woods to win both the U.S. Junior and the U.S. Amateur. Also announced the U.S. Walker Cup team, and is only headed into his sophomore year at the University of Alabama. Your U.S. Amateur champ, Nick Dunlap. Nick, hell of a week, bud. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man, congrats. That is so cool. 123rd U.S. Amateur champion. Just tell us what the last few days have been like. Obviously, the week was incredible. I know that was your goal going in. You're one of the best players in the country, but how's life changed in the last few days?
It's weird. Just earlier today, getting to talk with Coach Saban and our AD for a little while, and Mike Shanahan called me at dinner, and it's just simple things like that. JT's texting me. It's like, it's weird how fast some of that stuff can change. In a day. I don't think it's quite set in yet. I finally, this morning kind of got to sit down and recap it all and watch some videos and just realize how that week went down. And it's really cool. I've spent a lot of time working for this trophy, and just to have my name and mentioned with Tiger is something that, it's unforgettable and something that, I'm going to cherish for a long, long time.
All right, before we get going into the USAM and all that stuff, we're going to get into that, but I got to hear about this meeting with Saban. How does this happen? Does he just call you and say, yo, I want to meet with you? I assume whatever he says happens.
Yeah. So he spends a lot of time at our facility, and I've actually gotten to know him a little bit over the last couple of months. And what's cool with him is he doesn't, he's 71 or 72 or however old he is. He doesn't just go and play golf to have fun. Like, he's got that competitive, like, always he sat, actually, before I left for the AM, he sat and watched me hit balls for 2.5 hours, picking my brain on what he can get better at. And it's kind of eye-opening for me that, like, he doesn't have that off switch. Like, he's always trying to get better no matter what he's doing. And he'll text me from time to time and congratulate me on, how I'm playing, or we'll talk a little bit about how the team's doing. But he called me right after we finished on Sunday and congratulated me. He was actually at the facility and popped in and watched the last couple of holes, which is pretty cool. But no, just to have somebody like that and in his office, there's obviously even bringing that trophy, which is a fairly popular trophy, and you bring that into his office, and it's about his, the fourth most that's the way to say this.
Prestigious.
Fourth most prestigious thing he's got in there. Just to kind of have him speak about USAM and watching me and what it means to him, and it was a really cool experience for me, and to share that with somebody like him.
I talked to your coach, Jay Sewell, just a little bit ago, and he told me Saban kind of said the same thing to you as he did his team after they won their national championship. Said, This isn't the end. This is just the beginning.
Just the beginning, yeah.
That's so cool to hear, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. You got a great relationship with him. But go ahead, Sleaze.
I was just gonna ask, while we're on the football topic, you said you got a call from Mike Shanahan. Peyton Manning was out there all week, walking around, watching the matches. You get a chance to chop it up with Peyton at all?
Peyton came out and talked to us a couple of days early, and just to hear his insight on playing on the road as we're going to be going to Scotland. It's not going to be, the crowd's not going to be in our favor, and just some of his tactics that he used, playing against an away crowd, or maybe playing a game where the weather's not favorable, or just some things like that, or jet lag, or some things that can kind of help us next week.
That's awesome. I got to spend some time with him. He's obviously extremely knowledgeable and extremely funny.
Yeah,
he cracks me up. He was wearing John Cook out on the broadcast about wearing a purple shirt. He says, I'm not going to talk to anybody with an LSU colored shirt on. He blames Smiley for it.
Yeah,
which was great. But let's go to the start of the week, because I think a lot's been made about your start and stroke play being 5 over through 7. Then Jeff Curl wrote you the note in the yardage book and obviously turned things around. You end up being the 41 seed. But just take us through that, because you're one of the best players in the world. You won the Northeast Am, the North-South. You're heading in there as one of the favorites, and then probably the worst start you ever could have imagined happened for you. Was there any panic that set in at all?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you know, you have some starts like that. It happens. It's just kind of the way, I played well at the Western Am before that week. Kind of got boat raced and in the quarters against Christian Moss. Played really well. I thought my game, this tournament in particular is circled on my calendar, start of the year. Like, this is the one I want. This is the major. This is the one all eyes are on. And to kind of get off to that start, I hit the wrong ball on number 3, made triple, 4 putted to 5th, made a terrible bogey on 7, had a mid iron in my hand to a par 5, and I'm going to have that start, and all you can see is red. Like, your head's spinning. You're like, man, like, I had such a good summer, and like, this is how this is going to go out. And like, and it's not like you have 4 days to figure it out. You're playing against 320 of the best players in the world, and you got 36 holes to beat, 4/6 of them. I think Jeff did a really good job of calming me down. I kind of got out of my rhythm, got out of my process. We talked a lot about our game plan at the start of the week and sticking to that. And I kind of got out of that for a couple holes, and kind of wrote me that note and snapped back into it. And we're like, all right, like, let's take, each shot for what it's worth. We've got a 35-yard pitch. Let's hit the best shot we can, no matter what we did 6 holes ago. Like, this is all we can do. Like, if we play these next, 29 holes the way we want, and if we don't get in, we can hang our hat on that. But and it just kind of fell into place. I kind of got into rhythm, birdied 8, birdied 9, birdied a couple more holes in the back. And honestly, our only goal was to just get myself in a position come that back 9 on Tuesday at Cherry Hills to maybe, make a run and get into match play. And, fortunately got it back to even for that day and played well at Cherry the next day.
Yeah, dude, you battled, and it would be easy to pack it in at that point, but you didn't. Like you said, you grind your way, you get into match play, and then boom, match number 1, you, fellow native, Gordon Sargent, number 1 in the amateur world golf rankings. What went through your mind when you saw that was the first round matchup?
Yeah, we actually, from Gordon and I, it's pretty cool. We, grew up together and grew up in the same place. And, I think something it's kind of cool is, we always grown up playing against each other. We grew up, go to different rival SEC schools and always kind of compared against each other, playing against each other. And, those couple of days, right before that event started, we kind of got to know each other for more than just golfers. We kind of grew a little bit of a relationship, and we both have a lot of respect for each other and what we've done. And obviously, he's the number 1 player in the world, and his accomplishments stand for itself. But that kind of bond, going over next week, playing on the same team together for representing something that's greater than just us. But Jeff actually talked a lot about beginning of the week, like, man, this is fate. Like, you battled back from being 5 through 7. We hit the wrong ball. I gave a terrible 3-putt on the last, and you draw Gordon in the first round. And just take it for what it's worth. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the crowd, and that this was meant to happen. And take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, you end up getting him 2-1, but I mean, like Slee says, tough match. Has seeing what he's done, him also being from Birmingham, being number 1 in the world, getting the spot at the Masters, has like that kind of like pushed you even more? I know you're, from everything I've talked, all your coaches, everything, Brian Speakman to Jay Sewell, everyone says you're the hardest worker they've ever seen. But has his success kind of motivated you even a little more?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but it's cool for, just the opportunities he's brought to amateur golf. And obviously, playing in the Masters, getting that NCAA exemption, and just the things that he's done. I personally dislike losing more than I like winning. And, to see somebody obviously have that amount of success and playing really well, it motivates me. I want to be in that spotlight. I want to have a chance to do something great. And yeah, honestly, it only fuels me. But no, all respect to him. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to teaming up with him finally.
Yeah, that's going to be potentially a hell of a pairing if you guys end up going out together in that deal. But your relationship with him, would you classify it as a rivalry, or is that something like the media put out because you're both from Alabama? You're both, some of the best players in the amateur game. Do you view that as a rivalry?
I mean, I think you can, just because we're from the same hometown. But I think if you asked him, I mean, it really is. It's all respect between both of us. And, just the text he sent me after we played was really cool. He said, "Hey man, like, you're arguably the best player in the world right now. Nothing but respect." He's like, "Hey man, go out and win this. I'm cheering for you." And just to have somebody like himself, and just after the match we just played, and I know how I would feel if I got beat, and for him to do that and to take the time and text me was really neat, and something that I think is only going to grow our relationship.
Yeah, and you ended up beating him 2-1, and then cruised the next few matches before you got to the quarterfinals against Jackson Koivan, which went 19 holes. Was that really the only one that kind of gave you a little stress after getting past Gordon?
You could say that. There's a couple matches, even that second and third match, where you could kind of feel the momentum change, especially during that. You're playing the Colorado native, and 98% of the crowd is rooting for him, and you can kind of feel that momentum switch a couple times during the match. But I think you always have that one match. It's a long week. You have 6 matches, but you're always going to have that one where you don't have it, or something doesn't go your way. You just have to get by that one person. And for whatever reason, after I finished the quarters, or I finished the round of 16, we were at dinner. I'm like, man, I just don't have a good feeling about this for some reason. Like, I've played with Jackson a couple of times. He's number one junior ranked in the world, and obviously, done some really good things to get there. And for whatever reason, I just did not. I had a bad gut feeling about it, and ended up, I had 3 putts during that match, had 2 hazard balls, and momentum switched a couple of times. Early in that match, I made some sloppy mistakes that kind of I let it linger, and I should have. Wasn't able to capitalize on some of the areas and gaps that he had given me, and 3-putted the last hole to go to extras. But it was kind of one of those matches where I had to figure out a way to get by it no matter what.
Yeah, it looked like on 18 that like you had the advantage. That match changed so much. For the people listening that didn't see that, walk us through like 18 green in regulation and then into 19, because 19 that was kind of a flip as well.
Yeah, even I think it honestly goes back to 13. I won 13, I think, to go to 1-up, and then snap hooked it in the hazard on 14, and then won 15, and then 3-putted 16. So it was kind of back and forth, and went to 17, tied 17, and then 18. I'd probably wasn't an easy putt. I had 50 feet, breaking probably 8 feet, and then 3-putted that as well. And I was kind of felt like a deja vu moment from earlier. I'm like, man, I just had, a really, really good chance. And you normally don't get 2 chances to win a match like that. And I had 6 feet to win it. And obviously you go to 1, kind of not trying to let it get to me, like stick to the process, stick to what we had our game plan. He hit a great drive in the front bunker. It's a fairly easy bunker shot, and I kind of pull hooked it left. Off the first tee, they played it drivable from the Palmer tee. It's kind of weird all week. It was kind of the way I hit it out of the rough. I play it with a fairly open club face and kind of hood it coming back. I don't chip with a 60 out of that bent rough for whatever reason. I just don't catch a ton of ball. And it's a lot easier for me to chip with a sand wedge out of that rough. I can it's more consistent. I have an idea of what window it's going to come out of, and I catch more ball. And that lie in that certain shot, if I hit it with a sand wedge, there's no way of it staying on the green unless I tried to bump it through the rough. And it was kind of, Jeff's like, he's like, man, you've got to try to, you've got to hit this with an L wedge. We have no chance. And it's like, all right, and honestly, I'm just trying to hit it to 25 feet and pray that he gives me a chance to try to make it to go to extras. And honestly, I felt a second life. He didn't hit the greatest of bunker shots and had about 12 feet. And it kind of sparked me a little bit. And, I wasn't putting it great. It's kind of weird. Jeff and I normally are pretty similar on reads, and for whatever reason that day, not only were we not seeing him, we were a foot apart in some reads. And on that particular hole, we both kind of pointed at the same corner of a divot at the same time. I started right there. I've hit some bad putts, but all you can do is hit a good one. And if you miss doing it and he makes it, I can hang my hat on that. And unfortunately, it came out and crested right at the corner of that divot and went right in the middle.
That's wow. Yeah, that was a hell of a match. And I mean, just, I've never got a chance to sit down and talk with you, but talking to everybody, they tell me you're the most mature 19-year-old on the planet. And I'm starting to see that now just from 10 minutes of talking to you. But I got to go ahead to the semifinals, because one, obviously the winner and the runner-up getting the Masters. That's the thing everyone pays attention to. What were the nerves like the day of the semifinals compared to the finals?
Honestly, I've told a lot of people this. I think I was more nervous against Gordon than I was the entire week until the finals match. I felt that it just goes back to my respect for Gordon and his game. I felt like if I could get by him, I could make it a good ways. And but no, it kind of goes back to what Jeff and I had kind of said throughout the week, like, hey, like, and it's actually, I've talked to Brett McCabe a lot, and I talked to him a lot throughout that week. Like, look, we have a process, let's stick to it. And if somebody can beat me in my process, then great, so be it. Hats off to him. But I'm not going to get out of my rhythm and my process for somebody, whether they hit a good shot. Like, if I was going to hit it to 12 feet before they hit it to a foot, I'm still going to hit it to 12 feet and try to make a putt. And I think that helped me once the pressure amped up. Like, realize, like, look, I've done this 4 times. Like, I'm sticking to the process. I'm sticking to what I can do, and something that I think everybody kind of knows about it, whether it's the PGA Tour U or PGA Tour Accelerated or the Masters exemptions or the U.S. Open. I think something I've done in the past is try to push all that away and not acknowledge it. And it's something that I talk with Brett a lot this week, is like, let's embrace that. Like, you can't tell your mind what to think about or what not to think about. And let's embrace that and take it for what it's worth, and go after what we want, and execute our game plan.
Yeah, and it sure as hell worked. And you get through that semifinal match, boom, now you're in the finals. And that morning, some of your boys from Alabama show up for the final match. I think they left Atlanta at like 3 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning, something like that. What'd you think when you saw? A, did you know they were coming? And B, when did you see them for the first time?
So I talked to, it was really cool. First of all, Coach Sewell stayed and watched the Gordon match, which was cool for me. He had to go back and be a head coach for a little bit, but told me he was going to come back out in the weekend if I made it. And sure enough, he showed up Saturday for that for the Parker Bell match in the semis. And my parents flew out. A couple other buddies from Huntsville flew out. And then Canada had actually told me all week, like, hey, man, if you make it to Sunday, I will be there. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to be there, but I'm going to be there. But I had no idea some of the other guys were coming. I think Cannon posted a video on his Twitter of them leaving. And but no, I had no idea. Jonathan Grizz, my roommate, and Thomas Ponder and JP, which was our starting 5 last year. It was cool for me just to see them out there, and how unselfish they were of taking 2 days out of their practice and out of their life in college and coming and supporting me. And I think that shows testament to how close we are and what we've grown here at Alabama. And I'm looking forward to going back and battling with them here in the tournaments coming up in the fall. And they brought the energy. I needed it. I knew exactly when they showed up on 7 when I made that putt. They got loud and they kept it, and it was cool to celebrate with them after.
That's really cool to hear that they flew out there. Sleaze, how about that? His roommate's last name is Grizz. Sleaze's dog's name's Grizz.
I wanted to mention it. I think it was at the Amateur like last year, maybe he was playing somebody, and I took a screenshot. I was like, don't know this kid, but I'm going to. Also my new favorite player in college, the Grizz. Love that. Tell him shout out to him. Love that dude.
I will, absolutely.
Go to the finals quickly, because we know you got a lot of stuff going on, but you played Neil Shipley, who seemed like kind of one of the crowd favorites, had the long hair going. Loved to celebrate. I didn't get to see a lot of it, but it just looked like a lot of people were cheering him on. What was the finals like? Because y'all both played great.
Yeah, I think I kind of started early on in the week, and I played Colorado native. Didn't really feel all the love from the crowd, and then the next match I was playing a young kid, which I think a lot of the crowds are rooting on. And I said it to Jeff, and I think somebody overheard it, that I like being the villain. And I think that kind of goes back to I kind of use the crowd as motivation for myself. And something I watch a lot is I watch a lot of baseball, but there's a 20 for 20 on the Boston Red Sox in 03.
30 for 30.
Or 30 for 30. There you go.
Against the gold jacket,
yeah, same thing. Against the Yankees, and how Boston's down to 3-0, and how Kurt Schilling, all he wanted to do was to shut the crowd up, and that's something that kind of we used a lot throughout the week, and obviously in that finals match where I think Neil Shipley kind of became an overnight sensation, and I wasn't really feeling the love from the crowd that finals match, and we talked a lot about it. It's like, hey, let's quiet the crowd. And that's kind of all I wanted to do. All that the finals match and that second 18, I had a couple opportunities and was able to capitalize it on that that 9th and 10th hole, and I was able to kind of quiet them and kind of get back to what I was doing.
Yeah, you guys both played an incredible morning 18. I believe you matched 66s. Basically, you go in all square. that match, you started to jump out to a little lead in that second 18, but you made some monster putts when he was trying everything he could to cut into that thing and make it a close match. And he had some really good opportunities. If you had to pinpoint one moment, one putt in that second 18 where you're like, dude, that's the one I needed, this is mine, what would it be?
I think three was a big one for me. I wouldn't say that was the turning point, but three, it kind of set the tone. I was able to kind of get a lead. And that's kind of what I try to do in match play. I don't try to beat somebody 7-6. That's not my goal. I try to get a lead and basically suffocate them, and basically make them feel like I'm not going to mess up, make them feel like they have to try to make something happen. And that's ultimately when they mess up. But I think it was on 9, that putt on 9, I was 3 up. He kind of hit one in there close. The crowd's starting to get a little bit louder. I could feel it. I had 30 feet. I hit a great shot. I hit exactly where I was trying to hit it. He went better than I did, and inside of me. And I felt like that was kind of an opportunity that I could steal his thunder away a little bit, and made that. And I was pretty confident he was going to make it on top of me. And then go to 10, and you make that putt on 10, and you kind of have all the momentum back.
Yeah, you did. You end up finishing off 4-3. You're the 123rd U.S. Amateur Champion. With that, as I mentioned earlier, you'll be teamed up at the Masters next year alongside John Rahm the first 2 days. 1, have you ever played Augusta National? And 2, have you ever been to the Masters?
I think I went to the Masters, I think the year that Jordan won and set the record for however many birdies he made, or whether he
15.
I don't think he broke the actual record, but I went that year. I went that Saturday. I've never, it's funny, Coach Sewell was talking to me this morning about maybe going over and playing with Jeff Knox a little bit, as Lee Knox played here, but I've never played it. It was funny, my first time on Augusta, I actually bent down and picked up a piece of grass because I thought it was AstroTurf. But no, I'm looking forward to it, and it's something we talked a lot about. Getting the opportunity to play Augusta and with John Rahm is going to be incredible.
Yep, that's going to be unbelievable. You got a big slate of major championships coming up. You got the Walker Cup coming up. You also have college golf season with all the shit you have going on right now and all the stuff coming up. Is it hard to not have a letdown when college golf starts? It's been a whirlwind, and then boom, there's no break for you.
No, there's not much of a break. Honestly, man, when I'm playing well, I just like competing. I'm not a huge, I don't love practicing. I do it. But I just like competing. I like playing. Especially when all this is happening, we got a couple events coming up. But just to have, St. Andrews and Royal Troon and Augusta on the same schedule for me is unbelievable. And I don't think I've quite wrapped my head around it yet. But even our college schedule, we're playing Olympia Field starting off, and then we're going to play Birmingham Country Club. And, I'm just fortunate enough to be in a spot where I'm able to play at all these places and being led by Coach Sewell and all that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And even though I am looking forward to a break, I've still got a lot of golf and a lot of fun left to have. And I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I got a chance to play on a Walker Cup team, and wearing that red, white, and blue, obviously you have an extremely bright future and you're going to want to do massive things, but that Walker Cup will always stick with you. Going over there and playing with your boys, representing your country is one of the coolest things you can do. So make sure you enjoy that. And it's at St. Andrews, by the way.
Yeah, it was something cool. One of my buddies from Huntsville gave me. I'm not sure exactly how he got it, but he's got a ball from the very first Walker Cup, and it's been sitting on my nightstand ever since it was announced that the 100th Walker Cup, or the 100th anniversary, was going to be at St. Andrews, and it was a goal of mine to get on that team. And I did everything I could. I wasn't. After playing poorly at the U.S. Open at LA, I wasn't planning on playing Northeast or North-South. And I, unfortunately, looked back, I'm glad I did. And I was playing well, and I wanted to play. I'm healthy. Credit to Clark, you guys saw earlier. He's done a lot to get me in a place where I can play and with my wrist. And last week I was hurt for a little while there, which a lot of people don't know about. But no, I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a blast. And
don't forget, not most importantly, but very important, football season's coming up, dude. You should probably try to get to a game or two. Do you and the boys go to all the games?
Every time that we're home and the team is at home, we're there. We're actually, I think it's in between the first and second quarter. I'll get to go on the field here at the Texas game coming up. which will be kind of cool. I think it's the first time that we've hosted Texas, I believe. Big first home game, and I'm just looking forward for SEC football to be back. It's one of my favorite times of the year, just to veg on a Saturday and watch some football and enjoy that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Man, that's gonna be so cool, especially the Texas game. That was a battle last year in Austin.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the E9. Something we got to do. We got to have a little fun with you here. We do this with everyone, and we ask the same first question. You can be anyone for a day in the history of time, dead or alive. You get to walk in their shoes for a day. Who would it be?
Michael Jordan.
There you go.
Michael
That's
Jordan.
a quick answer.
Okay. Yeah,
Don't blame you.
I think he's the greatest athlete ever. Obviously the most dominant. I wouldn't say dominant. You could say Shaq's the most dominant, but I think he's the greatest basketball player of all time.
Not gonna get an argument from me.
We'll get no argument from us. We're in the wrong age group to argue that LeBron stuff. If you do become Jordan for a day, but just send us some kicks. Send us like all the exclusive.
Absolutely.
We'll get you our sizes. All right, first one from me. Is Coach Sewell nervous at all that Coach Saban might steal you away, being that you were once a finalist in the punt, pass, and kick competition?
Oh gosh, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I need to hear these stats on the
gosh,
competition.
I hope not. No, it's fine. I can't remember exactly what age I was when all that happened, but no, I'd love to be on that field at Bryant-Denny. Playing in front of 5,000 people gets me pretty nervous. I wouldn't even imagine playing in front of 100,000.
Yeah, y'all never punt though.
Huh?
Y'all don't punt that much, so you wouldn't get a lot of action.
That's true. They score every possession. It seems like.
I think once you get hit that first time by an SEC linebacker, you'll be like, Coach Sewell, I'd like to come back and play golf.
Yeah,
again.
I'd like to play golf again.
All right,
Clark's gonna be busy.
All right, you're 6'3", you're a big dude, you're really fit. Would you say you've done more two-a-days in the gym or at Chipotle?
Oh, who did Chipotle come from? Probably, honestly, pretty close. I would probably say Chipotle. I think the lunch and dinner Chipotle combo is something when I'm home you can kind of just cash it. I found out apparently this year that there's a Chipotle app. Didn't know that. And I think I've accumulated close to like 21,000 points on that, which I think is pretty good.
I've heard your number one goal is to be sponsored by Chipotle, and also that you have like the most ridiculously simple order ever.
It's the same thing every time. I actually the guys in Huntsville, all of the people that worked there knew my name, knew my order. As soon as I came in, they made the same 2 bowls and went right to the checkout.
Is it just really rice, chicken, and cheese? That's it?
Rice, or it's double rice, double chicken, and cheese. That's all you got. And
no
2 bowls.
Sauce.
Nope, no sauce.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay, that's good. Exciting.
You need a low food budget though. That's good.
Your Masters Champions dinner is going to be riveting. It's going to make Bubba Watson's look like Bobby Souffle or something. Oh my God.
It's going to be fantastic. It'll be super simple.
Hey Tiger, here's your chicken. No sauce.
Ain't nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with 2 a day Chipotle.
Sometimes if I'm feeling a little aggressive, I might go some queso, but it's got to be it's got to be one of those kind of days.
You splurge. You win the USAM, you splurge on a little queso. That's good. Keep that humility. All right, I got a real golf win for you on this one, because a lot of people, they may have heard your name, but this last week is probably the first time getting to see you in real life and see your golf game. Give me the one guy currently on the PGA Tour that you think your golf game resembles the most.
Can it be a live player, or are they the same now?
Yeah, any golfer plays like you.
I would probably say Dustin Johnson.
Good one.
I think my long game and driving's fairly similar. I think over the past couple of years, my putting has gotten a lot better. It's something I focused a lot on, especially this first year at Bama. I was always fairly good inside of 10 feet and 8 feet. It's kind of my money range, but over the last year, Coach Sewell and I we've worked a lot of my speed and my lag putting, and I think it's something that was kind of shown that final match is, I don't. It used to be, me marking, I would have to mark it every time from 30 to 40 feet. And now it's gotten to a point where, that's either a gimme or I can tap it in, and it's taking a lot of stress off my irons and knowing that I can be confident enough hitting it just on the green somewhere that I can 2-putt it, not have to worry about 3-putting. And it's something that's helped me a lot.
Well, he's had a pretty decent career, so I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. All right.
Good
next,
one.
listen, you play at the University of Alabama. there's some nice perks that come along with that. A lot of it's, flying private to tournaments. But recently at the SEC Championship, you chose to take an 8-hour van ride with your assistant coach, Hunter Hamrick. Can you please explain to us why you would do that and not fly private?
Yeah. So that's another. Clark's been there for me a couple of times, but so we live on a lake here, and we've got a lake house in Tuscaloosa. That my parents recently moved out here, and as college kids, you find rocks that you probably shouldn't jump off of, whether they're high or gutsy or whatever, and you back the boat up, see how deep it is, and then if it's reasonable, then you jump off. And we had either 4 or 5 teammates out there, and we all got up and jumped off the first time. And there's one guy that wouldn't jump. His name's I'll say it was Dylan West. He wouldn't jump off the rock. And so finally, we all went back up there to try to get him to jump off. And you always see these videos of somebody that's terrified and their knees lock up and they won't jump. Well, that actually happened. He wouldn't jump. And it's not a place where you can just walk back down. Like once you're up, you've got to jump. You're not getting back down the way you came up. And when we went back up there, as soon as I jumped off, I popped up out of the water and my world is spinning. Like I can't see straight. Felt like I was going to throw up. And felt like I had water in my ear for about 3 or 4 hours, and finally got back to my apartment and was jumping on one foot, and blood started coming out of my ear, and ended up busting an eardrum. Was told that I probably shouldn't play at SECs, and we finally made a molding of earwax that swimmers use for swimmers here, and I was able to keep that because when you bust your eardrum, your equilibrium's completely off, and I was running into corners, running into walls, like it's really weird. And I played with that big old orange thing in my ear all week long, and I got, as soon as that happened, came back in, like, hey, we're flying to SECs here in 2 days, like, am I gonna be able to do that? He's like, no, you got to bust your eardrum, you can't fly. So I ended up driving, and actually it's funny, after that week, I went back because obviously, I'm wearing that mold, and it pushes everything all the way to the bottom where that there's a hole in your ear. So I had to get all that cleaned out. And the guy was like, hey, like you didn't have to drive. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, when you have a hole in your ear, there can't be any pressure. There's a hole. He's like, most of the pilots that have that kind of problem and have those head problems, he's like, they will get tubes stuck in their ear and purposely puncture their eardrum so they don't have any pressure in their ears. Well, so I just drove eight hours to Sea Island for no reason.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
By the way, I think your team, whenever you decide to turn professional, we might want to keep you in a padded room. You sound a little,
it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm just
be careful.
It's injury awaiting to happen.
Yeah. You make money on the course, not jumping off cliffs.
Yep.
Yeah. You're going to need a handler of some sort.
Or
when you get out there,
sneaky pulling my shoulder, throwing balls at a clown at Dave & Buster's. Yeah, either that or both of those.
Yeah, that can happen.
It's incredible.
Typical golf injury.
Right before the semis. Yeah.
All right, my next one here. I know you play a lot out at Greystone, so I'll give you a chance to bag on some of the pros out there. You're 30-2, from what I read, in match play as an amateur. Which pro at Greystone do you think you have the best match play record against? It would add to that total.
That I could beat, or that would be cool to add to that. That they would be cool.
No, that you've just been beaten. I know you've been playing with them for a while. Just one that you've been beaten up on for a while, or feel like you have beaten up on.
I don't know if I can call anybody out. Honestly, just the way he's been playing, I'd love to play against Sep. He's shown that he's one of the best players in the world right now. It's been really cool knowing him, Corn Ferry years to, winning tour events, contending in majors. And it's helped me a lot growing up, honestly, growing up 13, 14 and watching that. And it's cool for me, you shoot 68 and you get beat by 4 by those guys. And it's like, okay, like, I got to get better. And you get to watch them, how good they are with certain clubs, how they navigate around a golf course. And, I think it's a different mindset of, that versus going out and playing with your buddies and you shoot 68 and you win by 4, you don't feel like you have to get any better. And it's something that I've worked on and I've thought about. It's like, man, if I can compete against these guys that are, winning on tour, your Lee Hodges and guys like that, then it's just given me that much more confidence playing against the guys that I'm currently competing against. And but yeah, I'd probably have to say Seb.
He's been playing some very nice golf. Maybe playing for a pair of squares.
I know. Tell me about it. I need some squares.
Oh my!
All
You'd
right.
hit bombs.
Next one. You mentioned Birmingham Country Club earlier. What's the earliest you've ever woke up for a qualifying round at Birmingham Country Club?
For the team,
Team qualifying, Birmingham Country Club. What's the earliest you ever got up?
5:15.
Don't lie to me. This is the trust tree on this podcast.
5:15, or maybe 5.
There was no 3 a.m. wake up call for maybe another sport activity before the qualifying round?
What are you thinking about?
Oh boy.
3 a.m. wake up call.
I heard you had to get some fishing in before a 9 a.m. qualifying time.
I did. You're right. I forgot about that. I did. You're right. So it was Shoal Creek, actually. It was Shoal.
Okay.
It was Shoal. We were playing Shoal, and one of my buddies is a big fisher. He's a professional fisherman. And he fished on a lake, or it's a river up in North Alabama. And whenever I get a text, he's like, "Hey man, like top water's hitting right now." I'm like, "All right, I'm coming." So I got up I think it was actually earlier than that. I think I got up like 2:45 it's probably 3 o'clock. Drove 2 hours up to Huntsville, fished for 5 hours, drove all the way back, got in at like 1:30 to 2 o'clock, and then teed it up at Shoal. Yeah, that I don't think Coach knows about that one. That was a
Sorry, Coach. I heard you played good. To be fair, though,
I did. I think I did play pretty well. It was a fun day. We got to. I didn't do great. I caught a couple, and he caught the hell out of them. But that was a fun day.
God damn, that's commitment to fishing.
Sleaze is not getting up at 3 a.m. for anything.
Nothing like nothing like a top water bite. Nothing like it.
Oh, tell me about it. All right, my last one. And I've been informed that you don't have a girlfriend, so you can answer this freely. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You are correct on that.
Okay, beautiful. All right, you get to invite one celebrity date to attend an Alabama football game, the Texas game with you, walk on to 50-yard line with you this year. Who you bringing? Anyone can be on your arm. You got a little wish list?
Can she be married?
She could be whoever you want, dude. She only can be married a little bit if she goes at center field. She goes at 50-yard line with you.
Center field.
Kind of jealous of DJ. I'm not gonna lie.
Paulina, hello.
Yeah, I have to say her.
Oh wow! And your golf game is like his. Holy, he's got stress right now.
Yeah. Probably her.
Oh wow! Out with the old, in with the new. Paulina, she listens to this. I'm pretty sure Paulina listens to this show.
That's great.
Expect a call.
All right, last one. You've always been taught growing up, return whatever you have better than when you found it. People talk about leaving the game of golf better than when they found it. Well, you just recently won the Havermeyer Trophy. Do you think if you had to return it right now, you'd return it better than you found it?
You heard about that too? Oh God. Yeah, it was funny. I just took it in to see Coach Saban, and the top fell off. Forgot to tell him. It took us 4 hours to break it. There is apparently a newly added. I don't know, Colt. Did they have it's a wire connecting the middle of the trophy to the top to keep the top from falling off. I don't know if that was.
No, I might have had something to do with that though.
So they added this wire that goes all the way through the top, and there's like a screw on the top that you can kind of screw it on. And so this metal wire is I welded or whatever to the bottom, and when you're trying to drink something out of it, there's a wire sticking out. It's kind of a poking hazard. So you kind of move that out of the way, and yeah, we snapped it off. Now the top just falls off again.
It happens. They'll fix it. It's no big deal.
It's yours. It's yours. You can do whatever you want.
I think you should take it. You should take it to Chipotle and have them put your bowl in it.
That's not a terrible idea.
Get a little.
There's no telling what's been inside of that thing.
Well,
fill it with guac.
I have a little bit of an idea. I wouldn't do that.
Fill it with queso and yeah.
Awesome, Nick. Well, man, we really appreciate you coming on. Congratulations on winning the U.S. Amateur. Best of luck over at St. Andrews at the Walker Cup. Really enjoyed sitting down with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. It's been cool to kind of watch your podcast and to finally talk to you. I appreciate it.
You got it, man. Congrats again.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah. Keep up the good work.
All right. Well, that was the U.S. Am champ, Nick Dunlap, joining us here on Subpar. How is he 19 years old? He talks like he's 35. He's got the body of a Greek god. It's not really fair. I don't like it. I like him. I just don't think I got dealt a bad hand. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's tough. That's that 2-6 off suit. He appears to be very good at golf from what I watched. I was very, very impressed with him. Not only that start that we got into, Colt, like 5 over through 7, dude, at the Am, you figure it's going to take around par. Like, that's not an easy place, those 2 golf courses, to go make that up. The fact that he did it, and then it's like, all right, pressure's off, but all right, I made it. There's a little sigh of relief. First round, Gordon Sargent, your home state, like, rival, #1 guy in the amateur rankings. It was a hell of a run for him through that thing. And also, like, you could feel it just watching it on TV. Like, he mentioned he played the Colorado native, the kid from Colorado State earlier in there. All the fans obviously rooting for the Colorado guy. In the championship match, watching it too, it just felt like, Shipley had like more people kind of on his side throughout that thing. He was kind of like I want to say he was the underdog because he's one of the best players in the country, but like fan wise, it felt like, a lot of people were on the other side the whole time. It was and he was just rock solid that whole week.
He played unbelievable. He's over at the Walker Cup this week at St. Andrews. Can't wait to watch Team USA over there. He'll be teeing it up at the Masters in April. If he possibly wins, sounds like Chipotle will be catering the champions dinner. Kind of
love that.
Interesting. I mean, how rice, chicken, and cheese? Like, what are we doing?
I would hate on it.
In there.
I would hate on it, but in college, I ate Chipotle minimum 3 nights a week.
Yeah, but you at least put stuff
4.
on it.
Yeah, I do have some stuff on it. It's an actual burrito with some shit on it. But the kid, he likes what he wants. Another thing he likes? Paulina. So look out, DJ. There's a new young buck on the scent.
On the scent.
Okay, on the scent. That's what bucks do. I think they sniff. I don't really know. I'm not a big animal guy. I don't really know.
But I cannot wait to see, what the future holds for Nick Dunlap. Everybody just raves about his talent. He's a big kid. His coach, J.C. Will, told me he's got another 15, 20 pounds of muscle to add on. Like, he's going to still continue to fill out, and so he's going to hit it even longer, which is terrifying. But this could be a superstar in the making. Cannot wait to see what he does. I mean, he could be on the PGA Tour very quickly with these accelerated points in the PGA Tour U. So, awesome, man. Really fun to sit down with him. And best of luck to him and Team USA over at the Walker Cup in St. Andrews. And everybody, enjoy football season. Get a little break from golf. Can't wait. This is what my friend Pete calls a no-touch week, Sleeves, for me. My feet are not going to touch the ground.
Goddamn, that's a hell of a goal, dude. That's a hell of a goal, and I love that. I'm going to start implementing that.
All right. Well, you enjoy Pine Valley. Don't embarrass us. Have some turtle soup and enjoy. Go low. Tell everybody up there hello, and that's going to do it for us. We'll talk to you on next week's Subpar.